Welcome back to the Ducks in a Row podcast. I am your host, Amanda Roberts, and I am so excited to be back with you recording today because actually I technically have not recorded a new episode in a couple of weeks because I had pre-recorded some episodes and I had a guest on, so that was pre-recorded. So anyway, I just feel like it's been a while, and so I'm excited to get back on here and blab to you for, 15, 20 minutes like I normally do. And I am going to try and keep this short and sweet today because it is one of those episodes where I'm just kind of explaining something that I offer through my business, Ducks in a Row. Every now and then, duty calls, and I need to kind of share an aspect of my business and an offering that I have just to sort of be a point of reference for people who are looking for more information on what I offer, but also just to have my listeners, my every week faithful listeners, which I love you if that is you, just hear what it is, because even if it's not for you, you might know somebody who could benefit from it. So every now and then I throw these episodes in and I hope that they are well received. But I want to start by saying something and kind of like clearing the air, so to speak, of a little weird glitch situation that happened last week. So I am, as you may or may not know, I am starting to introduce some guests. I had only had 2 guests on this podcast ever in previous seasons. Now that we are in season 3, almost done with season 3, as a matter of fact, I'm really amping up the guests, which I have been loving, and you guys have too. So that's good, but it's new for me. Okay. So with that comes technical difficulties and like weird situations that I have not used to navigating, especially because, again, you may or may not know, I run this podcast totally myself. I record it, I edit it, I put it on its platforms. I do it all myself. I don't have a team for that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I have something in my throat. And I just do it here in my dining room also. And so if you're watching on YouTube, hey, how are ya? You'll see, like, here I am, just in my dining room. So there's nothing fancy here. I don't believe that at this point in time, I need to be fancy with this podcast. I am here to give you guys pertinent information, stuff that I hope adds value to your lives. And so we are at the stage where I'm just doing that, in whatever way I can. But like I said, with that comes a few technical difficulties that I have to navigate. And for some very odd reason, the last episode that I did, that's not true. The first episode of the month, which was For the Love of Paperwork Organizing, breaking down the monthly challenge that I have over on Instagram. For some reason, that podcast was saying that it wasn't over an hour long. Definitely not. It was like 20 minutes, if that. So for whatever reason, it was saying that it was super long, and I uploaded it not realizing that. So I had to fix the problem, and then I had to delete that podcast and re-download it to my Buzzsprout. And when that happened, it got kicked into a different position. And so the interview that I did with my good friend Avery, which was last week's episode, for some reason is showing up below that episode. And it shouldn't have been, even though I did have to re-download it. It doesn't make any sense as to why it got put out in that order. It actually might just be in the order in which they were recorded. That might have actually been why it showed up in that order. The whole thing is weird. I don't know why that happens. It's probably something with my host for my podcast, which is fine. I'm not mad about it. I'm just making you guys aware because I don't want you to miss that episode with my girl Avery. It was gold. I mean, gold, gold, gold. And for whatever reason, it's not showing up as my most recent episode. Well, now this is going to be my most recent episode, but I want you to go back and specifically look for that episode and listen to it, because I'm telling you, like, she had fire messages to give you guys, and I just really want you to hear them. So that, I just wanted to clear that out, get that out of the way here first before we jump into today's actual episode. Okay, let's do that now. Okay, so raise your hand if you've noticed that I have a little It's just funny how I do things backwards sometimes. Raise your hand if you noticed how I have a little, a new ad within my podcast. I've been embedding it kind of in the middle. I have my normal ad at the beginning, which is for my course. But then in the middle, I have this nice little ad for something that I started doing more recently. I've been doing virtual organizing for a really long time. Even before 2020, believe it or not, I've had a couple of clients who have desired virtual rather than in person. So I have done this in some capacity almost since the beginning of my business, which has now been over 8 years. But more recently, for whatever reason, obviously 2020 kicked that into gear a little bit more too. But even since the beginning of this calendar year, I have had more interest in virtual organizing, even more so than in poem and in person. So I'm like, okay, you guys know, I usually roll with the punches that are given to me, especially in my business, because I have been praying diligently this year. If you've been here, then you know my word for this year is surrender. One of the things that I've really tried to surrender greatly is my business and where I want the Lord to take my business, in what direction and how, And so I find it as no coincidence that he has been having people reach out to me about virtual organizing without me even advertising it. Now, it is on my website as an offering, but it's not something that I have been like really vocal about advertising until I started getting these inquiries, more and more inquiries than normal. And then I did start to put out some content about it because I'm like, okay, well, if this is where I'm going to go, like this is what I can spend most of my time doing, that's okay. I can be flexible with that. So anyway, I created a little ad here on my podcast, and you might have heard that and been wondering where'd that come from. But again, it's not that it's a new offering. I've always done it. It's just that it's just more popular right now. And the other cool thing is, because it's become more popular, I have been able to experiment a little bit with some new and different clients on different ways in which to do virtual organizing, which has been so fun and is so cool. So I'm excited about that too. And that's what I'm going to be sharing here briefly today. And hopefully we can clear up some questions that maybe you have. But if you do have more questions about it, I would love to answer them as well. So you can always send me a DM or whatever the case, and we can get them answered. So what does the virtual organizing look like? Over the years, I've done a lot. Like, I've done it in many different ways. I have maybe had in-person clients who have wanted to move virtually. And so in doing that, what I'd end up doing is I already knew their space. So I would just kind of create them task lists that they would do when I wasn't there, right? So that's one way I've done it. I've done actual like Zoom, like Zoom sessions, right? Or FaceTime, like where we would be on the phone, whatever, like you're seeing me right now, on YouTube, we'd be talking face to face over the phone and just kind of going through different areas. They would obviously be doing the physical work because I wasn't there in front of them, but otherwise I was kind of guiding them like I normally would if I were there in person. I also had created several outlines for people, and just seeing pictures, photos of their space, and then kind of creating an outline based on that. So as of recent, most of my clients have been mainly interested in that portion, and that portion being the taking photos, taking videos, sending them over to me creating a very detailed step-by-step outline on the tasks to complete. And then also including, which this is a new aspect that I have loved, and it's just because I've become more and more comfortable with Canva. So I'm able to do this now because I can use Canva now more so than I could in the past. But anyway, so in Canva, I will actually take some of their before photos and I will create a before and after, meaning in the after photo, I will kind of, if it makes sense, I will kind of create what the after should look like. Obviously, it's not the actual after picture yet until the work is done, but I will try to create what the after should look like. So a lot of times in that graphic, I will kind of show, okay, see step 2, see step 3, and then they can go back, reference their outline for that particular cabinet or for that particular cubby hole or area of whatever the space is. And they can go back and reference the outline in that particular place and see what they're supposed to do for that particular area. Then also, if I have recommended some sort of organizing system, some kind of special tub or bin or, whatever the case, tray, all the different things that we have at our fingertips, literally, on Amazon, Target is usually where I'm finding most of that stuff. I will embed a link into the outline, which by the way is housed in a Google Doc. But I will embed a link in the Google Doc outline, but then I'll also take a picture from the internet and put that right in the quote unquote after photo in the design or vision board that I create in the photo in Canva. I hope all this makes sense. I know I might be using some terms. If you're not a techie person, and I'm not techie, okay, but if you're like really not techie, you might not know some of these programs, you might not know some of the things I'm saying, but trust me, it's not as hard. It's not as hard as it might sound. But what's really cool about doing that is I can create this like after effect and have, photos of the different things that I'm recommending for the different areas. And then obviously, like I said, give detailed instructions of how to purge the area and then how to reorganize it once you have decluttered and purged. And you can also let me know if that is something, if purging is something you really need help with, or if you more just need help with the putting back together. I have had people in both realms. It's like, nope, please tell me how to purge, what piles to make, where I can take these items. Sometimes I will have phone calls with my clients as they're purging because it's just helpful for them to be able to, talk to somebody and talk through it. But I've had clients who are like, you don't need to tell me how to purge at all. I know just exactly how to do that. And so all I'm really doing is giving them information on how to reorganize, how to put the stuff back so that it's organized. So that's kind of like a brief little outline or overview of how it works. Another really cool aspect of this program is I offer like voice messaging or voice coaching or however you want to call it. So I make myself available is really what this means. Okay. I make myself available via email, text message, voice text. And there's also an app called Voxer, which I like to use, which I had a recent client download that. So whenever she's actually, the day she decides to sit down and do her work, she's Voxering me questions or whatever. And if I'm available, I can get back to her right away, which is really cool. And if I'm not, then that's fine. Then, I get back to her when I can and vice versa. So it has really been super fun seeing this influx of clients that I have been working with lately with this virtual organizing. And I really think that it has been very helpful for them. At least I hope so. And so, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And so if you want to know more about it, I'm going to put a link in the show notes that you can head straight to that link, and you'll be enrolling into my teachable school, Ducks in a Row. It's just a way to be able to get a hold of me and to learn more about what I do offer. And then I will be in touch with you to actually schedule a consultation. It is free. It is on the phone and it is free. That consultation kind of gets us to know each other, and we can discuss how exactly you think it would work best for you and how to roll out what the virtual organizing would look like with the different options that I mentioned. And then we'll discuss price a little bit, but just know that it is actually, I will give you a personalized quote for your space. Okay. It's not going to be the same for everybody, but after that quote, then we just get started. You send me pictures, you send me videos, and I get started. And then I will give you, as soon as I give you the outline, the vision board and everything, then you can just sort of get started and go at your own pace, get done. When you're done, then we'll come back together. We'll do the next thing, so on and so forth. So it has been super fun. I've been loving it. And I really think it's helpful for the clients that have so far done it. And so I just wanted, like I said, I just want to share that with you guys. I just want you to know that this is something that I offer through my business. And it might just be for you or someone you know. So if that is the case, give me a holler or share my information with somebody that you love or know and love and that you think would be would benefit from this as well. But like I said, I always appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate your support in my business, and I can never thank you enough for that. And I just pray that you live your life with passionate gratitude. Okay, guys, I will see you next time.